Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, June 21st, and this is our morning drive live. Hopefully, the sound is working as we're broadcasting live, um, but we shall see. But today, I want to talk about three HIPAA myths that need to be busted right away. So we'll start with number one because this was the purpose or the inspiration for the Drive Live topic today. And that is about working from home. Um, working from home or working remotely is absolutely a great idea. It's perfect when it's executed well. Um, the issue is when people are not executing it properly or failing to follow the rules that go along with it. So I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, we're going to use Chrome remote desktop to remote in." You need to be very careful because many times um, the remote access software that you are using is not HIPAA compliant. And it's not that HIPAA is making these rules just to make life hard, it's for a reason. Um, you know, Chrome Remote Desktop is very easily hackable. It's an open door to your network. And any hacker or a 12-year-old who enjoys spending time on YouTube can figure out how to find that connection and interrupt that connection. And that's one of the reasons why what you use to remote into your office computer from home or from your laptop or from wherever is very important. So make sure, number one, you have a business associate agreement with the company that you are using to remote access your computer. Any good remote access software will have a business associate agreement available on their website, something that you can print out, you can add to your HIPAA compliance binder, and be good to go. The other part of working from home is one that I feel people forget about, not only working from home, but in your office as well. And that is your printer. A lot of people don't realize that your printer has a hard drive in it. And that hard drive in the printer or in the copier at the office has a scanned image of every single document you have printed on that printer. And if you just throw that out, you're not compliant with the data destruction requirements under HIPAA. In my office, for example, we lease a copier. It's, big, ridiculous, huge copy machine that folds and binds and staples and does all kinds of ridiculous stuff. But we lease that from a company. I had to negotiate to add into my lease that at the end of the lease, when the machine hits 3 years old and we trade it in for a new one, that the hard drive that's in that copier stays my property. So when they come to remove that copier, they'll actually open it up, take the hard drive out of the machine, and give it to me. I then have to ensure that all of that data is destroyed. And I could do that a number of different ways. But the key here to remember is if you're remoting into your work computer from home and you print something out on your home computer that has protected health information or personally identifiable information, apparently just read a comment real quick that the sound is probably not working again, and I'm not sure why. But it will come back on the replay. But if you print something out on your home computer, your home printer, even if it's just one page, a schedule for the day with patients' names on it, your printer now becomes the property of the office, and you can't just throw it in the trash and get rid of it. It now has to be destroyed and certified to be destroyed. That certificate of data destruction has to be stored by your practice for 7 years. So, that is something that is very important for people to remember as we begin more working from home, more remote work. That's something that's very, very, very important that I want people to remember. So the second of the three things that we want to talk about when we're talking about HIPAA myths, number 2 is training. Okay, HIPAA requires that every one of your employees receives training on your office's HIPAA plans and programs. Where the confusion comes in for a lot of people is that they think going to the State Dental Association annual conference or taking a HIPAA class online meets those requirements. And the truth of the matter is, it does not. The HIPAA training that is required is on your office's site-specific plans and programs, not on general HIPAA law. So there is no possible way that you taking a HIPAA class at an association meeting, at a free HIPAA training that the oral surgeon that you refer to is providing for all of its referring offices, that cannot possibly meet the annual training requirements because it's not on your office's specific policies. It's on general HIPAA law. You can use what you learn at those meetings, and I do those trainings. You can use what you learn during those seminars, during those classes, to create your own office policies. But the training for your employees absolutely has to be on your office's specific plans, programs, and policies. So, that's something important to remember because every office is going to have different rules when it comes to different things. And one of the big parts of HIPAA training is discussing with your team the sanction policies and what they actually mean. And basically, a sanction policy is just the punishment for breaking one of the HIPAA rules, one of your office's HIPAA rules. And part of the HIPAA requirements are that every single office have a sanction policy for each and every one of the 196 audit control points that an inspector would be looking at if they were to come in and inspect your office from the OCR. If you don't have those sanction policies and your teams don't know what they are, you are going to immediately fail and you're going to have problems and breaches and so on and so forth. So we're good. We've got that out of the way. The last thing I want to talk about, and this is probably the most important for people to know, is that HIPAA has added in 2013, HIPAA added criminal components to HIPAA violations. So what that means, when we talk about releasing records, and everybody knows I've posted the link 1,000 times, if you're sending the records to another provider, you do not need a release from the patient. You do not need the patient's consent. Send the records. But people will say, well, what if that other office isn't really going to treat that patient? What if they're trying to get the records for some other reason? I mean, whatever it may be. But HIPAA has added criminal components to its enforcement policies, which means if another office uses false pretenses to get patients' records, they are guilty of criminal HIPAA violations. And both the doctor and the person who made the request actually can go to jail for up to 10 years plus a $250,000 fine. It's the same thing anytime you are using or acquiring HIPAA protected information for any false pretense or for commercial advantage or malicious intent. So, commercial advantage would be a hygienist or an associate taking patients' names, information, contact information, email addresses, mailing addresses, phone numbers, and taking that to a new office that they work at. That is a criminal violation of HIPAA, and whoever does it can go to jail. Like I said, the max penalty is 10 years in a federal prison and or a $250,000 fine. And those are enforced by the Department of Justice. So the FBI is the one that investigates those criminal complaints. So I just want to put that out there. Hopefully everybody has a great Monday. I know the sound was bad on the live, but when it uploads, for some reason, the sound is perfect. I'm not sure what's going on with the live feature. I'm going to troubleshoot it. We had a call with Facebook last week. I'm going to have to get them back on the phone because it's evidently still happening. But I am here. Everybody have a great day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, June 23rd, and this would normally be our morning drive live, but unfortunately, today it's going to be going off from the office. And the reason why is actually something I wanted to talk about um, on today's Drive Live or going off from the office episode, because the reason this isn't a Drive Live today and the reason there wasn't a Drive Live yesterday is because my car is in the shop. And the dealership is wonderful and gave me a loaner, but the service person who walked me out to my loaner laughed at me when I got in the car and I looked down and I went, "Oh my gosh, the cup holders are in the wrong location." And she said, "What do you mean?" And I said, I had to go through the whole story of every morning I shoot a Drive Live video as I'm driving to work. It's perfect because in my car, the cup holders are right here in the perfect spot. My phone holder holds it and it's at the right angle, but these cup holders are off to the side. And all you would be able to see if I was doing the Drive Live from my loaner car is my armpit. And I don't think that would work very well. So, she kind of laughed and said, I've never had anybody complain about the location of the cup holders before. And it got me thinking about, we see all the time in all of the Facebook groups and, people posting and sending me messages, and we're constantly getting weird requests or what we would consider to be weird requests from our patients. And I think part of that may be because we don't understand what's important to them. I had a discussion a couple months ago in another group about giving patients what they want, doing what is important for them. We all feel like our system is the best. but that may not necessarily work for every single patient. Whether that be certain business hours. A lot of offices are open 1 or 2 evenings a week. They alternate their hours to accommodate the people who can't take time off, who aren't able to take time off from work, or who have kids and have to wait for their wife or their husband or their partner or their whoever to get home to stay with the kids so they can go to their dental appointment. Because if not, there's going to be, four screaming kids in the waiting room running around, and waiting rooms are closed, and we can't do that, and we can't do this. So, finding out what is important to your patients, I think, is an important part of doing business. One of the things I say to my team all the time when we're talking about what we do and remote billing and bringing on new clients and working with our existing clients is we have to know what is important to them. Because if we're concentrated on one thing, but it's something different that is the most important thing to them, we're failing them. I have a questionnaire as part of our onboarding process for new employees that lists 10 things and asks them, what is the most important thing to you out of these 10 things? Whether that be, um, salary, benefits, time off, feeling like they're in on things, being included in decision making, knowing what's going on, having, help with personal issues, offering advice, anything like that. And it's these 10 things that I ask every new employee to rank. Because believe it or not, salary isn't always the most important part of a job to someone. They'd rather have job security and make $1 or $2 less an hour than make $1 more, but never know if they're going to get cut, if they're going to get sent home, are they going to close early, are we closed 6 weeks a year, what's going on. That job security has an inherent value. And it got me thinking when I was at the car dealership yesterday, it got me thinking about finding out what is important to our patients. So, asking them, what is most important to you? Is it accessibility? Why are you saying we do a 90-minute new patient visit, but when we tell patients that over the phone, plan on being here for 90 minutes, a certain number of them, or even if it's 2 or 3 patients every month or every few months, aren't happy about that. Maybe they don't have the time. So is there anything we can do to speed that process up without sacrificing our company values, without sacrificing the standard of care that we want to provide? Um, I actually love my dentist, and I have a new dentist here this past year, and I love my new dentist because they asked me what was important. And when I said, number one, I want to make sure the quality of care is good, and number two, I want to be in and out of my appointments. I don't want to come in here and sit for 15 minutes in the waiting room, go back into the operatory, sit another 15 minutes waiting for you. I understand, believe me, I understand better than 99.9% of your patients what the process is, and that you have two hygienists calling you for hygiene checks and you're running from 2 to 3 different operatories. I get it. But I want to be in and out. I have things to do in the time that I'm sitting in a dental office for an hour. I get 55 new Facebook notifications, 25 new emails, and that's why I hate doing Drive Lives videos this late in the day, because my phone goes crazy. So, anyway, sorry about that. We got interrupted by a phone call. Um, and I have no idea how to stop phone calls from coming in while I'm on a live video. So the phone call interrupted the live, and that was it. But there's other things going on. So to me, after quality of care, the most important thing is time. Um, is getting in and out of that office as quickly as possible. Um, so I just want to make sure we're asking our patients, we're finding out from our patients what's important to them so that we can mirror, so that we can match what's important to them. It's the best way to keep employees mirroring what's important to them, whether it's growth or salary or time off or feeling included. Um, we want to do that with our team members. We also should be doing that with our patients. And, that is something that I feel is important in any relationship, whether it be a personal relationship, a business relationship, is that everybody shares their expectations of what they want to get out of the relationship. So, something to keep in mind, definitely. I'm probably the only person in the world that the location of the cup holder is important to them in a car. And it's only because I do these drive live videos every day. So, hopefully this makes sense. On YouTube, I'm going to merge the two videos together. Um, we'll put a little interrupted broadcast there, but I obviously am here already. Everybody have a great day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, June 24th, and this is our morning drive live. Back in my car, thank goodness. So, I want to talk today about some posts I've seen in a lot of other groups talking about making the transition to cloud software. And, I just want to put out there that if executed properly, cloud software can be awesome, but it may not be the cure-all that everybody thinks it is. And that's for a few reasons, but number one, a lot of people think, and I've seen posts in other groups in the past 24 hours saying, we went to the cloud, we went to Curve, or we went to Dentrix Ascend, and we got rid of our server because we no longer need it. Because all of our health information is contained on the cloud. We don't need a server to manage profiles, anything like that. And that may not be true. In fact, I can tell you, I have honestly never seen a practice where that was true, because patients' health information and personally identifiable information, patients' names and addresses together, or, names and birth dates, names and subscriber IDs, whatever it may be, are very, very rarely contained 100% to the practice management software. So if you think about it, if you do an insurance verification for a patient and you take that patient's name and subscriber ID, or name and date of birth, and you search on a website for it, your PHI is no longer contained to just the practice management software. Your PII is no longer contained to just the practice management software. You've now entered it outside in a Windows program. It's no longer contained. If you mail letters to patients, if you export a report and you view it as a PDF, your patient's information is no longer contained just within the cloud-based software. What that means is that PDF, that Excel spreadsheet, that file, whatever it may be, now resides, it now lives on the hard drive of your computer. So even if you delete the PDF, A lot of people think deleting the PDF or deleting the Excel spreadsheet or deleting a picture off of their computer removes it from the hard drive. And it actually doesn't. You think you deleted it, but you didn't. The way hard drives work is they're rewriting and moving coding around on the hard drive. Any inexperienced 12-year-old with a YouTube account can pull that hard drive or access that hard drive and pull up items that you think you've deleted because their ghost or their image still appears on your hard drive until such point as your hard drive is 100% full and starts writing over those deleted spots again. So, HIPAA requires that we protect that information with user-specific logins that should be managed with a domain controller. And the only way to do that is with a server with a domain, not a work group, but a domain with independent logins for each user. And when I say independent logins for each user, I'm talking about logins to the computer, to the workstation, not just to your Dentrix or your Ascend or your Curve or your EagleSoft or your OpenDental, but actually to the computer, to the workstation itself. You should have each person have their own login, domain login. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, June 25th, and this is our morning drive live, except it's not live. And there's a reason for that. Two reasons, actually. Number one, Facebook has been having so many live issues lately with cutouts and audio problems and all other kinds of issues that it's very difficult to do a live video right now on Facebook. Excuse me. So I am recording this, and then as soon as I get to the office, I will be uploading it into the group and starting it as a watch party. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody and works for everybody. But the topic I want to talk about today is being flexible. And there's a good reason why that's my topic today. 4 minutes before I left the house, I got a call from my vice president of operations at my office that he was stranded in a parking lot and he thinks his fuel pump died and he's stuck. So I'm on my way to pick him up, to bring him to the office where we can call AAA, start the process of getting the car towed, and be ready to go. But definitely not the way that I planned for my day to start. Not the way I planned my morning to happen. I have a very, very rigid schedule, and this definitely didn't fit into it. But guess what? This is what we have to do because he's my employee, he's my partner, he's my team member, and he's my friend. So I have to be flexible with my schedule, with my time, with my day in order to accommodate and help somebody who needs the help. And it got me thinking about what our company's core values are. We as a company have 5 core values that are beliefs that we use to hire throughout the training process, that are things we really expect of our employees every single day. And the first one of those things is we are all Gumby. That's our number one core value. We are all Gumby. And I'll make sure I post in the comments of the video. And, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll blast it up on the screen here in a minute. Probably somewhere like right up here, I'll put it. But our core values hang on posters all over our office. Our employees are trained on them from day one. And that number one core value is be Gumby. We are all Gumby. And there's a reason for that. If you think about what Gumby was like, for those of you who are old enough to remember who Gumby was, or is, I guess, Gumby was flexible. Gumby was a good friend. Gumby was honest. Gumby was outgoing. And Gumby was adventurous. And these are all traits that I want my entire team to represent. These are all actions, all mentalities that I want my entire team to have, because it's important. And the number one thing Gumby was, for anybody who knows who Gumby is, the number one thing he was flexible. And, for him, it was represented by, he was like a piece of gum or rubber, and could bend in many number of ways and stretch and so on and so forth. But for us as a team, we're not Stretch Armstrong dolls. We're not Gumby. But we want to act like Gumby. We want to be flexible when things change, when things come up. And listen, things always come up. That's just the way it works. That's life. So when these things come up, when these things happen, what we do is we deal with them. We be flexible. There's no reason to get upset. There's no reason to get annoyed. There's no reason that, one event in the morning has to ruin your day. There's just no reason for it. So, we have to be flexible. We have to not allow negative influences to ruin our day. One of the things I tell people is, when I'll say to somebody, hey, what's wrong? What's going on? Oh, I'm just having a bad day. You're not. There is no such thing as a bad day. You're just allowing outside influences to affect your mood. And that's never a good thing. Wake up every day ready to go, ready to attack the day with a good attitude, being positive, and just don't allow any outside influences to affect you negatively. That's all there is to it. Don't allow them to. It's just not worth it. So, this morning, here I am. I'm driving out of my way, completely different direction that I normally would go. I'm going to now be 11 minutes behind in my schedule, which, again, I have a very, very rigid schedule. It's now going to be behind. It's going to be off. Things are going to be pushed back. But guess what? That's okay. I'll make it up somehow. I'm doing what I have to do to help a member of my team. And we all need to remember that as dentists, as owners, as office managers, as employers, and as employees. We need to remember that it's not always going to go as planned. You think you're doing a 2-surface filling and it turns into a crown or it turns into a root canal. You think you're gonna do a 1-surface posterior composite and it turns into a 4-surface. These things happen. We have to be flexible. One of the big ones, we think we're done at 5 o'clock. But guess what? At 4:20, a patient walks in the door and they're in pain and they need a root canal, and the dentist says, we're staying and we're doing the root canal, and everybody stays late. And that's the way it is. We're in the medical industry. We have to be flexible enough to be able to do those things. You know, we're here at the end of the day, we're here to treat our patients. So we have to make sure we're treating our patients well and treating them properly. And part of that is being flexible, just like we want to be flexible with our team members, just like we want to be flexible with our employers, just like we want to be flexible with our patients. This is the way it works. So this is what we have to do. You know, don't let it affect you in a negative way, because there's nothing you can do about it. So accept it, move on. It's the way it is. And there you go. You know, it's not easy. It takes practice. It takes time to do it. But it's definitely something that you can do if you just change the way you look at these little things that pop up. So just the way it is, that's the way it's going to be. I am here. There is Steve with his broken down car. We're going to get it towed, get him going. As soon as I get to the office, I'll upload this video as a watch party. Hopefully everybody has a great day. Enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday morning.